Welcome back to my channel. This is Old New Dude with theories and tinfoil of Game of Thrones and beyond. All fair use laws are in effect and spoilers ahead. 4 days in a row. Woo-hoo. Yeah, yesterday's video had some pictures that I found, and my oldest son loved that part of it. So we're going to continue with a couple of pictures before we get started. Just trying to make this a little bit more personal. Jon Snow's 14, 15 there at the beginning of the books, and that is me at the same age. Yeah, I know. Cheesy mustache. To be honest, I've had the mustache since 5th grade, but that's the first time my mother let me get a school picture taken with that cheesy mustache. So, yay. If I don't show you this one, my wife will divorce me. Yes, I know, I got very lucky. And it does look like I'm getting really thin there on top. Like I said, it's still thin, but it's not as thin as it appears to be. I did show you the Navy picture yesterday, so shout out to Company 048, San Diego. Good bunch of guys. And this is my senior portrait. Yes, I know. I had a mullet. And since my son's favorite thing was the picture portion of yesterday's video, that is my son at 4 years old. And the year was 1999. So, yeah, you do the math. And apparently I had that teddy bear for about 5 years. So, yeah, me. That's 8-month-old me. And let's see what else we got here. That is my senior portrait. Not senior portrait, senior prom. And you notice that I'm by myself. My girlfriend at the time went with a band trip to the Bahamas. So I figured I'd be all Don Juan, because I had plenty of girls that I had class with that knew she was going out to the Bahamas and said, "Oh, we'll dance with you, blah, blah, blah." Yeah. Bullshit. I spent the whole time standing beside Miss Keys with her camera, taking pictures of all of the girls that said they were going to dance with me, standing there with their boyfriend. So, yeah, I leaned up against the wall the whole night. Went in and got my picture taken and left. Went to a Waffle House to get something to eat. And this is the last one I show today. All right. Of course, that is me coaching a t-ball. This is my son. And the reason this picture is funny, if you look, oh, you can't see it in this one. Generally, where he stands in the outfield, there's a little spot of dirt. And the funny thing is this is one of the few times he's not playing in that dirt at a t-ball game. So that's why it's so funny. And then to show you what kind of sense of humor I have and what my wife's had to put up with for 27 years. The day they gave out trophies to the t-ball team, I was picking up a friend of mine's son's trophy, so I give it to him the next day at work. So I come home, I got my son's trophy, and I got another one that looks just like it. There's no names on these. This is just low end trophies just to give the kids something. And my wife's like, "What's the second trophy for?" And I'm like, all the mothers voted me sexiest coach. And then the look on her face, if I'd have had a picture of it right then and there, I'd show it this morning. It was look like, what the hell did you do? And no more T-ball. And you're getting something cut off. So yeah, my wife said to put over that for 27 years. But okay, that's the end of the stroll through memories for the portion of this video. So hopefully my son enjoys that part. Hopefully he got a chuckle out of it too. And then I had mentioned something yesterday about Shadrach, the Mad Mouse, and possibly the leader of the Quiet Isle being Lewin Martell, and then the Hound. That is that's from Asherah's Trueborn Sons, his 6th video. I'd link it, but we done know by now I can't do that. And it's from a Song of Ice and Tootles, I think. I think believe I have. I can link it in Twitter. I know how to do that until Twitter becomes hell again, and then I get off of it. But I'll link the story that Asheron's Trueborn Son DM'd me on Twitter, and it's pretty good. It's definitely a good read. But thanks for the shout out on that one, Asheron. I told him, I knew I heard it from somewhere, but I couldn't remember where the hell I knew it from. All right. I told you today would be Bran 1 Game of Thrones. And the bath scene with Jamie and Bran is without a doubt my favorite scene in the books and in the TV show. I can't remember the guy's name who plays Jamie, but boy, he knocked it out of the park in that scene. My second favorite has got to be Bran 1 Game of Thrones. This for the main reason that this is the chapter, this is the scene that George R. R. Martin wrote down while he was writing another book and went, "Ooh, I want to write that story instead." So this is the scene that launched it all. Was them finding the direwolf pups in the snow. I'll point out a couple things in the chapter here in a second, but just a couple of questions. All right, I don't think they took a different path going back as they did going to kill the dude. If so, why didn't see the dire wolves then? Or the dire wolf and then find the pups then? So did she come after they came by and gave birth while she was dead or dying or however it is? It don't matter. It's just one of those things that popped in your head when you reread stuff. And then, like I said, everyone knows me knows that I am a N plus A equals J. And there's stuff in this chapter that just starts laying the groundwork for that's just what it is. I mean, you ain't gotta believe me. You believe what you want to believe. But as I'm rereading the chapter, because I'm biased already to what I think is true. Now, trust me, I didn't catch none of this shit the first time I read through it, and a lot of the stuff has been pointed out by other people. But as I reread stuff, that's what pops in my head. Well, that helps back up my theory or our theory. Whoever, all the people that believe N plus A equals J. Like I said, it's the first time you hear, and the only time you hear Ned Stark refer to Robb and Jon as my sons. And then you get to, okay, find the dire wolves. And yeah, I mean, Ghost's eyes were open. Everybody's covered that a whole lot better than I couldn't do it as good as they did. But and this is kind of what seals the deal for me. Yeah, I could write off Ned said, let's see what my sons are up to, just because he's for 14 years. Hey, that's my boy. That's my boy. That's my boy. And it needs just be, you say it enough times, and then it I mean, the people. I mean, I understand he could say it and then not be true, but I don't think Ned's a dishonest person. And so when John points out that there are 5 pups, 3 male, 2 female, and then he has 3 true-born sons and 2 true-born daughters, and the dire wolf is a sigil of the house. That they were meant to have them, and Bran says his father's face changed, and we already got a heads up at the beginning of the chapter that Lord Stark put on the Lord Stark face, because they can see 2 phases: Lord Stark face and then their father's face. And the father's face, I'm assuming, is a softer, warmer, come sit on my lap, we'll tell you a story kind of face. But it's a dad's face. It's not the one they wear when you're in trouble. So when his face changed, so that tells me he took off the Lord Stark's face and put on the father face. And then John points out all this stuff. And then, Bran says he could, just flat out, he loved him for that moment because he knew what he did. And Lord Stark knew what he did. Ned knew, the father knew what he did. And he's like, you don't want a puppy for yourself, John? When you stop and think about that, the reason they were getting able to keep those pups was because John was talking about true-born heirs. And then true-born heirs conversation, the next question Ned asked is, you don't want one? So in my mind, like I said, I'm already biased. So, it could be Ned hiccups, and I'd be like, oh, that's proof. I'm right, yay. The fact that he went from true-born kids and Ned's like, you don't want one, that's, in my mind, that is when the words true-born were said, Ned automatically thought of John as true-born. Maybe. Sounds pretty good to me. So, everybody else has done talked about how Ghost didn't make no noise, and how was John, their connection was instantaneous. But as I reread, that's what I gleaned more out of that chapter, was Ned and John's relationship. And, if it's the first time you're reading it, like I said, I didn't catch none of that crap first time I read it. But that's it on the Bran one. I'm not going to do a 20-minute video on shit y'all already know. But I will point out things that popped in my head on the reread. But okay, Winds of Winter prediction. This is probably my last Winds of Winter prediction for at least a couple days. I've said this in a video before. I feel it. We're told that Valyrian steel swords tend to have a soul or a mind of their own, and the person that wields them is made better for it. Just like the sword kind of comes alive in their hand and instantaneous increase their skills. So Jamie, with his right hand cut off, and now he's got to scratch his ass with the left hand. Yeah, he's been practicing at night, ill and pain, to improve his skills with his left hand. And he says he's still shit at it. But you got to stop and think about it. He's comparing it to how he was with his right hand. And with his right hand, Was he the greatest swordsman in Westeros? Was he better than Sir Barristan? Was he better than Sir Arthur? I don't know, man, but it's probably up there, and they're pretty close. Um, those three people, you can probably just sit there and rotate them around in the top three swordsmen, uh, and be all right with it. So comparing how he is with his left hand by how he was with his right, he's biased. Same as I'm biased as Ned and Shari was Jay. He's biased on how he's expecting his left hand and what he's comparing his left hand to be. And I mean, that's poking it way up here, and then maybe his skills are here with his left hand. Because, I mean, you don't stop being a fighter just because they cut your hand off. You still know how to fight. You still know how to look at an opponent. So they drop their shoulder, where they're looking, where their eyes, how they place their foot. I mean, those instincts don't change. So I'm thinking he's better than what he says he is. But I do believe when Jamie Bran get back to Lady Stoneheart, after deceiving him and getting him back there, Bran's going to be thinking to herself, I'm no longer worthy of this sword, of Oathkeeper, because I just hoodooed you. Here, take it back. And whether he's got to fight Brienne or if they come up with somebody else, no matter who he fights, when he draws Oathkeeper, that Valyrian steel sword with dark and red coloring, it's going to come alive in his hand. He is going to fight just as good, if not better, than he did with his right hand. Because as good as he was with his right hand, if you'd put a damn Valyrian sword in his right hand, holy shit, you know? So I'm thinking that sword is going to, and there's another reason why I think it's going to come even more alive in his hand. I'm on the fence. I'm on the team that Cersei and Jamie are secret Targaryens. And I know not everybody can be a damn secret Targaryen. Ned can't be a secret Targaryen. All these, I mean, if you say everyone's a secret Targaryen, eventually you're going to be right on some. But and I get into, when we get to those chapters that really drive that theory home with me, I'll point them out. I don't think Tyrion is a secret Targaryen. Because it just seems to be too obvious of an answer that, okay, just his looks and his dreams and thinking about dragon, it's like putting a deadly fish hook that George caught you and told you and took you that way with your thinking, and he pulled a rope dope. You thought the right hand was coming, so he gave you a left. But being of Valyrian blood, plus it being Valyrian steel, and I think it's getting kind of deep out there. And I'm not the only one that think. I know there's other people that's got to, but if you know of someone that made the video of this or whatever, please, like I said, I give anybody mad props for their theories, but I believe that ice was made from Blackfire and Dark Sister. And I know it's getting a little off topic. Oh shit, 18 minutes. Sorry. For the simple fact is, if the Lannisters had to pay enough gold to raise an army or be able to afford to have the Doom of Valyria be financed, and there's only so many damn Valyrian swords in the world, and we're told that House Stark and House Mormont have had their Valyrian steel family swords, ancestral swords, for about 400 years each. So both of them, it puts it right there at the Doom of Valyria. So I mean, that just, they both got their swords at the same time. And how the hell do they afford it? We're literally told that Bear Island can't afford shit. It's rich with trees and and fighting and fishing and all another F's in there too. But it doesn't have. I mean, it ain't like the bears are pooping gold. So how the hell the Mormonts pay for a Valyrian steel sword? And we're told that the Starks are the third richest family, after the Mandarins and the Boltons. But how the hell they afford that much Valyrian steel sword? It's ridiculous how much Valyrian steel went into making ice. And we're told that Valyrian steel tends to have a mind of its own and go back to what it was originally forged at. It's hard to get it to change its mind on what it wants to be or what it has been. So when that sword, when the ice is broken down and they're reforged, and you get two swords out of it, and you get Oathkeeper and Dark Sister. In my mind, they're the same size as Blackfire, or they're the same size as Blackfire and Dark Sister. So Oathkeeper and Widow's Well. Widow's Well even makes you think of a woman, and Dark Sister. I mean, woman, duh. So I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, there's others that think the same thing, but that's just where I fall on it. But yeah, Oathkeeper gonna freaking come alive in Jamie's hand. Do I think he's gonna kill his way out of the situation? No. Do I think that it's gonna be a long ass fight between him and Brienne? Yeah. Do I think he's gonna spare her at the end of it after he's defeated her? Yeah. Is he going to kill Lady Stoneheart? No. And here's why. He's going to have the opportunity to kill Lady Stoneheart, but then he's going to drop down to one knee and say, even if it causes my death here and now, I swore to never hurt or harm a Stark, and by extension, a Tully. To never raise up arms against them. He'll sheath Oathkeeper and be like, even if you kill me right here and now, I can't raise my sword against you because I promised I wouldn't. I made an oath that I wouldn't, and I have to stick to that oath. I've stuck to that oath ever since making it to you. So maybe she'll believe me, maybe she don't. I don't know where it's gonna go from there. 50-50. Let's see. Another who haven't I talked about? I know Ogre said that I'm a whole lot more organized. This relaunch, and I don't see it. I just sorry. Do I think Cersei's gonna die in this book? Yes. Fagon's gonna be taking King's Landing. Euron's going to be at King's Landing in this book, because we already know that his blood magic crap that he's going to pull is in this book. So when his brother sees him on the Iron Throne. So whether Fagon takes it before Euron, I don't know. But then the other one's going to have to contend with the one that's on the throne. Do I think Fagon's closer to getting it right now? Yeah. Man, is he going to lose it to Euron? If he's got it and they had to burn down King's Landing, that Iron Throne's still sitting there because it's not iron. I mean, no one ever mentions it being rust. It's not an iron throne. It's a Valyrian steel throne. It needs it's pro-Valyrian steel, meaning that it is almost there. It was forged with dragon fire, but it still needs what I think what makes a Valyrian steel sword a Valyrian steel sword, that it needs a soul trapped in it. Just like you're told that the Azor Ahai and Nissa, he stabs her in the heart, And she goes into that sword. It's a living sword in his hand because it has the soul of Nisa Nisa. That's that. I think that's sitting there telling you that's the final touch to make Valyrian steel sword, and that's why those swords tend to go back to the shape that they were before you try to start reforging them, because the soul doesn't want to give up its shape. It was meant to be that shape. The soul went into that sword at that shape, and that's why it always wants to go back to that shape, just because there's a soul in it. The Iron Throne, which, I mean, it might have a couple souls in there, because you remember it tends to cut people that ain't worthy to sit on there. So that gives you, it has a conscience somewhere in there. But I don't think the whole thing is that way, but it's definitely pro Valyrian steel. It just needs a little bit more to get it over the finish line. That's an awful lot of swords that could be used in the Battle of the Dome. But yeah, I think Fagon's going to get King's Landing first. There's going to be a outbreak of grayscale. They're going to burn King's Landing. It's going to light up the caches of wildfire. And then before Dany can get to King's Landing with her dragons, Euron's going to get it. Euron's is going to take over King's Landing and take it away from Fagon. So that's my prediction in Winds of Winter for Euron. I don't know if Fagon's going to die when he loses King's Landing. I hope not. I kind of like to see him and Dany. I like to see Fagon ride a dragon, depending on what, Blackfire or Targaryen, don't care. But that'd be pretty cool. Still working on the pictures. If I can find more pictures of my oldest son, I will pop those up on there tomorrow. No Winds of Winter predictions for tomorrow. It's just going to be a chapter review, and then some pictures and probably a couple of jokes. But oh shit, we're at 27 minutes. Sorry about that. Once I start talking, it's hard to shut me up. Please, like Asheron's Trueborn son, leave a comment, and comments get discussed. Comments, like we did 2 days on the prologue because of a comment. So I appreciate comments. I like the conversation. I don't want to be in charge of where it goes, because sometimes I can't tell where I want the conversation to go. But when you ask a question, it's a whole lot easier to say, hey, I'm going to go that way. We'll answer that question, give a shout out, type thing. So yeah, you take care of yours, I'll take care of mine. COVID's still something out there. If I go to the grocery store, I'm the only one, maybe one more person got a mask on, so I'm assuming that I can just leave it sitting on the dash for now. But y'all be good, and I will see you tomorrow on Old New Dudes, Theories and Tinfoil of Game of Thrones and beyond. Have a good day.